Good morning, kayakers, and this morning I am speaking specifically to sea kayakers. We have a problem, and we're part of the problem. Let's talk about fixes. Let's go. Welcome back, everyone. It's good to see you all. I have spent the last few weeks looking at participation data for kayaking, sea kayaking, river kayaking, rafting, stand-up paddleboarding, all the things. And while it's not horrible, it's not great. And what I have seen in kayaking, particularly sea kayaking, is that the numbers are pretty stable. They're not growing, but they're pretty stable. But the problem is that our average age is slowly creeping up. And I'm going to do another video just for older paddlers, as I'm seeing in the past year or two, probably 60% of my students, my private students, are 50 or above, which is interesting. And so I'm going to do a video specifically for those folks. I guess you can watch it if you're not one of those folks. We've got some problems in kayaking, so we're not growing the way we should, and our participants are getting older. As best as I can tell, I think we have three problems. And the first problem is a marketing problem. So the first part of the marketing problem is that when I tell people that I teach kayaking, this is what they think of. And then when you look at the way people use the outdoors in marketing, the only time you see kayaking is recreational kayakers, usually on sit-on-tops, who don't know how to paddle. And you see whitewater kayaking, which, while exciting and super cool, is not really drawing people into the sport. Can you think of any marketing that involves kayaks that is sea kayaking and is exciting? The only one that I can think of is that I vaguely recall a Nissan Xterra commercial that had a sea kayaker in it.
A million uses and counting. The 210 horsepower supercharged Nissan Xterra.
I don't know of any movies that involve sea kayaking. There are movies that involve whitewater rafting. There are movies about climbing. You get movies like Cliffhanger and K2, which, while not great movies, at least show climbing in an exciting way, if not realistic. But there is nothing like that for kayaking, specifically sea kayaking. And the reason that marketing like that is important is that it draws people in. It makes people say, that looks super cool, I want to do something like that. And that is just not occurring in sea kayaking. I'm at the end of my island. But the view is super cool. The second problem, I think, might surprise you, and the problem is REI, which, if you're not in the US, REI is Recreational Equipment Incorporated. It's the largest outdoor retailer in the United States. And they do a bad job with sea kayaking. And I've talked about this before. Climbing is ingrained in REI's culture. Paddling is not. REI has a paragraph that it teaches to new employees to sort of sum up the REI mythos, which is to inspire, educate, and outfit for a lifetime of outdoor adventures and stewardship. And REI is not inspiring or educating particularly well, at least on the East Coast where I was with them, or outfitting, really, people in terms of sea kayaking. If they did a better job of that, then more people would start in a recreational kayak and then be like, but really my goal is to get out into a sea kayak and be having adventures. And they're not doing a great job of that. I've already talked about how they don't do a great job of maintaining inventory and having staff that are knowledgeable about higher-end stuff besides recreational kayaks. They are great with stuff like that with cycling or climbing, but they're not great with that in terms of transitioning kayakers from rec kayakers to sea kayakers, and that's something that we really need. For the record, I love REI. I worked for REI for 15 years. I'm not knocking them, but they could do better. If REI were doing that stuff better, then more people would view recreational kayaks as a starting point not as an ending point. And that's what we need. We need people progressing from wreck kayaks to touring kayaks. The third problem is us, and I'm including myself in that us, is that those of us that are doing trips aren't doing a good enough job of selling them, of promoting them, of letting people see that you can have amazing adventures in kayaks, as amazing, if not more amazing than, say, backpacking, which has huge followers and new people starting backpacking every year. There's been amazing paddlers throughout the years and currently doing amazing trips that just don't make their way into the media, for lack of a better phrase. In the 80s, a guy named Ned Gillette kayaked from Southern California to Hawaii, unsupported and solo. Freya Hofmeister is paddling around everything. She paddled around Australia, she paddled around South America. Right now, she's paddling around North America. And there's, right now, as I speak, there's 4 people kayaking, attempting to be the first people to kayak through the Northwest Passage. And all of those are amazing things, but no one knows about it. We need to give people a better reason to get out of 12-foot recreational kayaks and into 16, 17-foot touring kayaks. And I'm as guilty of that as anyone, and that's the only way that this sport is really going to grow, as opposed to dying out, which is what's going to happen if we don't increase participation numbers. And so with that in mind, I have 2 trips coming up in the next couple weeks, and I've got to do a better job of sort of making those exciting for people to watch, to draw people in. And it's something that I said in the beginning of the year that I wanted to do, which was get better at creating those short films that get the same sort of viewership as the skills videos. So be looking for those. If you're interested in that stuff, do me a favor, hit like, hit subscribe. You can always buy me a coffee on Coffee. Otherwise, I'll see you on the water. Probably not that water right there, but I'll see you on the water.